I'll go ahead and give you guys a reminder. I've been giving it to the other committees. Just remember the mics are directional. So if you're right in front of it close, it'll pick you up. If you lean over to the side, even though you're still super close, nothing there. So please make sure it's in front of you.
I call this meeting of the library board to order at 4:30. Roll call?
The committee member Castaneda, committee member Corley,
Here.
committee member Wise,
Here.
Vice Chair Hicks,
Here.
and Chair Journey.
Do the minutes from the meeting of September.
I move their adoption as published.
I second it.
Um,
Do what?
It's been moved in second.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed?
Okay, we can go to the report from the librarian.
Hello. Uh, so what we've got going on, we just received 6 more boxes of books from Senator Wyden in the Library of Congress. All of these books are like picture books and J fiction and teen fiction. So Joy is going through those and adding them. We're going to offer the ones that we don't add to our collection to the Halsey Library. They have a new librarian and they've reached out for some mentorship and figuring out how to get books. So we thought it might be a good thing to pass some of these books on since they're in the same congressional district and all that. Building issues. We are replacing the light fixtures in the staff area because one has stopped wanting to work. Although 2 minutes after I emailed about it not working, it decided to work for the next week. And then they just ordered the parts today and then it stopped working again. So so we're going to take the opportunity to upgrade those to LED, which will also be good for staff, as well as hopefully a tiny bit of energy savings. And I'm looking at estimates to replace the front window. That's the one that's behind Kira's desk on the little porch, not the big front windows, but the smaller one. That one, it kind of leaks air right now and is a little loose and it's not in good shape. So we're just going to get a simple, I keep calling it like a living room window to go there. It'll be cost efficient and hopefully a lot more energy efficient. We just got new bean bags for the teen area. Some of the other ones were a couple years old and teenagers for a couple years. You need to replace bean bags. So those are in. We on October 4th, we started our new Saturday hours. We shifted to be open from 10 to 3 instead of 11 to 4. Same amount of hours every week, just a little bit different starting time. So now every day that we're open, we open at 10, which hopefully will help people remember. And then the first hour that we were open, even though it was Harvest Festival Saturday, we had more people come in that first hour than we usually do that last hour that we were open. We saw well over 200 kids. I'm not sure how many people were at the Harvest Festival, but we're going with over 200. We had ordered about 80 pounds of candy with the assistance of Harvest Committee Festival and our donors, and we gave away about 60 pounds of candy and prizes and had 150 different treat bags to decorate, and those were gone probably in the first 2 hours. We had over 70 teens attend our teen clothing giveaway, and we probably gave away about 80% of our donations. And we also had some hygiene products and food and all of that went as well. We're going to be doing a kid-sized clothing drive after, probably start collecting stuff after Thanksgiving with a giveaway time sometime in January. And that'll just depend on availability of some volunteers and holidays in January. Our summer Dungeons and Dragons group, they are starting to play at least once a month together now on Saturdays and having a great time. It's a kind of a mixed age group. Sunshine Industries is visiting us once a month for a craft or movie time, and then they come in every week just to check out books as well. New building. So we do have our work session at 3 before our meeting next month. There are a few more pieces of property, although one of them I'm not seeing right now, so I don't know if it's just the website or whatever. But Ma's Restaurant, just down the road slightly, is for sale. It's just under an acre, but then there's another piece of property behind it that was for sale too. But that other piece of property I'm not seeing listed, but stuff comes and goes off of those websites, whether or not it actually sells. And that's in addition to the other piece of property that was over a little bit further down the block. So just something that we can talk more in depth about at the work session. The grants I listed last month that we got, I'm still waiting for deposits for some of those. And once we get those, then we'll start spending the money. But with the current climate, I'm not spending any money until I actually have the check. So it might put us a little bit behind, but that's fine. Still waiting for parts for our handicap access door. They had another little piece they had to order, just paid for that as well. So we're just waiting for all the parts to come in before that's installed. We will be getting a grant for STEM kits. Those will be something that'll be able to be checked out. We're looking mostly at like homeschool families that might want something to check out on different topics. Not quite sure what's going to be available. We're just waiting for a final paperwork before I announce that. They give me over twice as much as what I was actually asking for. So now I have to find space for all this stuff. Like, I want a small amount so I can actually have a place to put it, but they're like, no, we're giving you more. Like, okay. So I attended the Association for Rural and Small Libraries annual conference in Albuquerque last month. I co-presented a session, which went really well. It was a packed room, lots of good questions, and then continued to talk to people about it over during the conference because it was the first session, of course. Then I just listed some of these sessions I went to. If you have any questions about what any of those mean, you're free to ask. For one of them, we're getting a 1-year membership to the Sustainable Library Program, which just helps the library be more sustainable and eco-friendly, but in a lot of different ways. And then there's also a program that they have for a certification to be a sustainable library. So we're looking at doing some of the training for what that would entail now, but then hopefully in the next 5 years, if we do get a new building, at that point we would do the certification program. And then another one that I went to, the Community Webs Workshop, going to that paid for my airfare and hotel. So out of the library budget, I just had to pay for the conference registration. But with that attendance at that, we will have, some online storage space for some digital collections. So soon, when I have a little more time, get some of the other grants worked out, then we're going to get a scanner and start asking the community for like logging photos or older family photos. And then I'm hoping with a new building as well to be able to incorporate those photos into the artwork at the building. But I think the sooner that we can get some of these photos and stuff from people before they get lost would be great. And then possibly even if we can get someone to pay for it or as a fundraiser, somehow publishing a book with some of these photos, depending on what we get. But this will at least give us the storage server space to be able to house these photos, which is usually the most expensive part. We get 1 terabyte, which is sounds like a lot, but it's not as much as it should be. But it's free, so we're all good. So any questions about any of the conference
Yeah.
sessions?
I have two actually. I see one of them's navigating new building projects. Did you find a lot of information if that's one of the routes we go to take?
Yes, and one of the routes is to plan everything out ahead of time. Even and that's one of the things we'll talk about in new business. But one of the things they suggested was to have a donor policy and to track everything very well. But also, if you do have donors, be very clear with them what that does and does not entail. And also, once the building project has started, they can't decide to change things because the people that did the presentation, they had someone come in when they had already broken ground on the building, and they had someone come in and say, I will give you, $1 million, but you have to change the entire floor plan.
Mm.
And they're like, we'd love that, but it's going to cost more than that to do that. So if you talked to us 6 months ago, we could have done this. So just kind of being upfront with some donors and stuff like that. And then also just being aware and possibly locking in some prices at the start of the construction for all the prices going up, which is some stuff like that. And having a general contractor. Because librarians, they don't teach us that in library school.
And then the other one I was kind of looking at was from anxiety to action. Can you tell me a little bit more about that maybe?
So that was about the sustainable libraries, but it was get the full description, but it was more about instead of being anxious about what your library is doing, have a plan.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like anxiety for like everybody in the community or something.
No, that's what I had thought it might be,
Okay.
but it ended up not quite being that, but it still was great. Find the actual description. I still have the app on my phone. Where did it go? But well, I can find it later too. There it is. So one of the things that is within the sustainable libraries is programs for loneliness and community health. So the description for that session is, did you know the effects of loneliness and isolation are devastating to our health and well-being as chronic health conditions? Libraries can help communities establish deeper social connections with programs and services they already offer with a renewed focus and rebranding using the Sustainable Libraries Certification Program to help our library lead the way. So that's kind of some of what they talked about of why having the program is not just eco, but there's the whole community, the community infrastructure as well.
Thank you.
And one of the things that we're thinking about, but we need a really clever name for, is Wednesday mornings right now are a little bit of our slower time, but we're thinking about doing a tea and puzzle type of event, just like every Wednesday or first Wednesday or something. And just having like free tea available and like a puzzle set out and get people come in and talk and puzzle and all of that. But I want a really clever name before we'd go for it.
Tea and puzzles not catching it for you?
Not enough.
Okay.
I wanted something like what's the tea, but I'm not sure the population we're going for would understand what I mean.
So what's the plan for the puzzle if it doesn't get finished on one Wednesday? Is there a good storage space so it doesn't get messed up
We
for
can
the
either-
following week?
We can either get a puzzle mat or it could also be one that we'd have a smaller puzzle that we put out
That would
and then
get
we can
finished?
leave it out for longer as well because we do have a lot of puzzles right now and getting a lot of donations, which is great.
I appreciate your report, and you should be commended for doing a presentation at the conference. And I know that takes extra work to be able to do that. And I think it's wonderful that you're putting Sweet Home in a position to be seen as a resource to other communities. So kudos.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that they always put me as presenting a session when there's one that I really want to go to at the same time.
Huh.
So I did that again, of course.
Cool.
So that is my entire report. Any other questions about any of it? Then I can move on to statistics. Okay. So statistics, we're about even with where we were last year. Our program participants are the numbers up, obviously, over last year, with actually a few fewer programs happening because that was just basically based on summer. We had fewer programs but better attendance. So just switching things up a little bit. And then our ebook checkouts are still going up month over month of what they were last year, which is good. So I've been trying to promote those a little bit more as well. And that's ebooks and e-audiobooks for those that don't use Libby yet. And as Jen knows, Libby has no, you don't get any fines or calls when something's due. It just automatically gets sent back. And I don't think we have any old business unless anyone remembers anything. So moving on to new business unless there's anything else. Our newsletter, Jen approved of the pictures. And with that, I just want to remind everybody that on Halloween, we're doing story time trick or treat with a cop that Friday at 2:30 at the police station. An officer has already been voluntold that he will be doing this. And then after that, trick or treat starts at 3 down among the downtown businesses. So the police station's a great place to start, and they get a little bit of safety tips beforehand. So if you have little ones or know of any, please send them down there. We'll still have regular story time the day before. All right, my last piece of new business, expectations for this. I do not expect, we are not voting on this today. This is just an introduction. I want you all to look at it. This is mostly just taken from other libraries, so I'm absolutely open to any changes. The amounts of money are just what other libraries typically have, and they could have been, they're sometimes a much bigger community, so the numbers could be much higher than what we might want to do here. So this is just basically a way to raise money as well, is to give to sell naming rights for donations. So there's the entire building that can have a new name or not. Everything is an or not. The rooms within the building, like the meeting rooms, study rooms, offices, could also be named. We can also name areas like, the adult fiction collection, the kids area, teen area, and all of that. And then we can also, there's like the stacks of books, stack the rows, those could also have names. You could even go down to a shelf of books. Like I want to have, the 811s. I love this section of classic books. I want these to have my name on them. You could do that as well. If people donate a book or money for a book about a certain subject, we can do a nameplate for that. If somebody wants to donate a chair, we can do a nameplate on that. Artwork, anything basically you can put a name on. A few things that I would like to do for fundraising as well would be to make some tiles for like the children's areas. You have like a white tile, you put like a handprint or something, or have kids do their own artwork, whatever, and then put glaze on it and fire it. We can do those as well, sell those. So there's a lot of options, but I wanted to start with at least the physical stuff that we could or could not name if people want it that way. The money that we have received already from the trust that I cannot remember how to pronounce the name of, There's no naming rights included in that, and that total was about 800,000. So if we do name the building, I would like it to be over that amount. That's the only reason why I put $1 million.
Mhm.
But I'm just, you can think about this over next time, come with your notes. I know Eva will have notes as well. So it's just something to think about. If there's any questions now, I'm more than happy to answer. If it's something you just want to think about, or if there's something else you're thinking that you're like, oh, you forgot you could name this too,
Mm.
please let me know. Then Adam doesn't have to worry about doing roll call. He's very worried about a vote. And then after this, if we decide to adopt this in whatever form, at that point, then the city attorney will look it over one more time, and then it would go to city council for final approval.
Mm.
I'm not expecting it to go to them until like February. So we have plenty of time. I don't foresee a large donation coming down in the next 2 weeks anyway, or the next few months, so that's what we've got.
Looks well thought through.
Well copied from other libraries.
Yeah, good.
Comments or questions?
I'll make one more comment. So one thing that came up in the session I went to that I was not seeing on a lot of these that have been adopted is the last paragraph for the morality clause. That was one question that came up when they were talking about new buildings as well as other thing was what to do if the person that something is named after becomes controversial for whatever reason. So having a morality clause in there would allow us, the library, the city, to change things if necessary. But at what level that needs to happen and why can be written out. It can be more specific than I've said. It can be less specific as well.
Who has the right to, or who would be the decisioning body to say, yes, we will be changing? Would that be the city or the library?
We can decide that.
Okay.
Right now it could be all of us.
Okay,
It would probably be something that I would bring to you guys, and then
to the city.
you'd
Mhm.
say take it to the city or not.
Okay.
But we can spell that out clearer if there's a direction you want that to go. So with that, that's your homework.
Anything else? Right, I adjourned the meeting of the library at 4:59. No, 4:54.